terms of drafts where it has to work really well with their comp, but also it has to do well into what you're playing against, as you mentioned, as a lot of the pros mentioned. So you can't really first rotation it. Thankfully, we're not getting a lot of first rotation AD carries, so maybe she gets some play. Starting off with two of our most OP mid laners, Talia and Azir, taken away right away.
Yeah, the Mel bug was discovered after this patch, so it is still banned on this patch, to the surprise of no one, I imagine, at this point. So that is why she is still globally banned. Pantheon's going to be taken away. The Azir is still incredibly strong, was not tapped on this patch.
We did see Pantheon played once.
Yeah,
and I think that will be the last time we see it here. Unless we get into a really weird Game 3 state where a lot of things are left open, and even then I think it's a bad idea.
I'm starting to wonder, it's no shock to see this Lehen's ban here as well on the Shen. I'm starting to wonder if Wukong fits in that third spot though, Valdez. You and I were kind of taking a look at those stats, hitting 70% win rate right now across many, many games. One of the most played junglers right now in the LCK. They'll take away Viper's Varus instead though. And guess what?
You know who's also really good at Wukong? It's Peanut.
Yeah.
And Wukong right now is really strong himself.
That's not really a surprise here. Also feels pretty decent into the Trundle pick that has risen in priority so much.
Yeah.
So it's just a safe all-around pick. Protects your AD carry, can work well with dive compositions. It does weaken your pre-6 gank power for sure. But I feel like right now in this meta, that doesn't matter as much. It looks like Gideon's just going to be happy to trade the Xinjiao pick here. The question is what comes with it, as Talia and Azir are both gone. We often see a mid laner picked in this position. It's up to Calix.
Yeah, there's also the Gwen Rumble situation. Sure. Both of those getting left up.
Doesn't matter which one you pick first, I guess, in that case. A lot of people are happy to play the Rumble into the Gwen. A lot of top laners are happy to play the Gwen. If I'm thinking about Kingen, I'd rather see Rumble in terms of his individual performances, but it'll be the Annie here instead, which is pretty safe. Into the Wukong, it does give you a lot of engage. And it's also one of those mid picks that feels very safe to blind in almost any situation. We have seen Galio played into this a lot. Zeka loves his Galio. Galio works well with Wukong, but I think it's a bit too early in the draft to lock that one in.
Yeah, could consider something like an Orianna as well. Does work extremely well with the Wukong. And
there it is. Wow, you and I are kind of, we're one of trading in terms of our Preds on this one.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely seeing this combo a lot, so not the most difficult one. There's the Rumble, which might be taken away from Kingen. There it is.
Yeah, so a lot of power with the setup here with a ball carrier, the Shockwave, and then Equalizer could be potentially layered on top of it. Makes it very challenging for Annie to approach and get those flank angles. This has been a pretty risky pick into the Rumble, but it can take over the side lane, and often does, unless there's an incident in the top lane or you just get camped, which against the Wukong you should be relatively fine. This is the more common pick, though, that we talked about, and it is going to come through here. We don't know what the AD carry setup is going to look like just yet, but I think in terms of conditions for Yunara, I like potentially Hanwha Life's draft a lot more because they have that Wukong on their side. They have the stronger engage overall, and Annie's really strong with engage. Xinjiao is as well, but with the Wukong to peel, maybe this could be an angle for Viper. I'm not going to predict it, but I'm saying it's viable. It's maybe Valdez.
Yeah. I mean, let's see what gets left up here. A lot of thought put into this one. Kai'Sa, another big pick so far in round 3. Well, I guess we're in round 4 now, but for round 3 was 6-1. So definitely a very winning AD carry. A lot of teams pick it in very specific situations with dive comps, and what we're looking at right now with Hanwha Life looks good, and Viper's Kai'Sa is insane, so I like that ban.
Makes a lot of sense. See what comes next year in terms of setting up for safety. I was wondering if the Alistar was going to still be in this second ban phase, kind of permaban. Took a huge hit to armor. 7 armor is no joke, especially with what it's going to do to your laning phase, especially at level 1. So I wonder if we'll see that drop. Not just yet here, though. Lucian will also be taken away.
Yeah, I do wonder about the Rakan right now, because Rakan with Wukong is also insane and fits perfectly in the Hanwha Life Esports draft. They don't ban it, so
maybe they're looking to pick it away, potentially, but would be quite a risk. The final ban here, it'd be funny if they just banned the Braum, like both of the supports that got hit with the early armor. It could ban Rakan if they're expecting it to be picked. The Nautilus will be taken away, which has been a big favorite of Lehen's, even though he hasn't found success with it. We saw Peter also picking this one up as he was going to play Yunara into Wukong Orianna.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, Wolf. You saw how it went in the LEC. I think that Life Esports will be even cleaner with their engages.
If there wasn't a Wukong there, I'd be like, oh my god, I mean, they got the Gwen, they got the Shinshao, they've got an Annie, that's really helpful, help peel, like this could work out. But, you know, and also this is going to be fantastic into it. The wave clear you're going to have in mid. Looking for the Rakan, but I think the Sivir still 100% works here.
Yeah, Rakan is free. Sivir enables the whole comp. Zeri could be kind of like a hyper carry that goes well with the dive comp as well.
It helps clean up after the equalizer eats those health bars, and you have so much follow-up engage. Xayah is an interesting choice. It's basically saying we both have incredible engage, but also safety, but Xayah can even follow up on this engage, and when you have this much of a hard engaging Wukong, the range that the Xayah has, the range problem she often has, doesn't matter. Now this is an interesting tech here to bring the Lulu in to assist the lane phase. It's going to help out a lot into the Rakan. You know, some pro opinions have differed on Yunara's laning phase. Some are saying it's quite strong, some are saying it's very situational, it doesn't really work out too well. I think with the Lulu it should be fine. The key is pre-6, you have to stack your Q before you can use it, so you cannot be interrupted. You have to constantly be auto-attacking, and sometimes that can mess up your wave state. And if you don't have something with you like a Lulu that can help you put that pressure on constantly, it's hard to make sure you can hit those stacks and take the trades you want to. I think Gio should be able to get out of the laning phase just fine. It's the R buttons on the other side I'm a little bit more worried about.
That is a big worry, especially in the current meta where it's all about team fights, all about objective setups, and you've got this Yunara who's got about 8 different things that she has to deal with, and the many different engage options on the side of Life Esports. It's a risk, to say the least, and I think Life got a Grand Slam draft here compared to what we see on the side of Nongshim.
I mean, the empowered W for Yunara can help keep Wukong away if used at the right timing. You know, it's like a 99% slow. You know, you get at a distance for a second. Sure. Maybe the Annie then peels for you, and you got that Zeri swinging. I think it's a risky draft for the side of Nongshim here, really leaning into the new patch, whereas Hanwha Life has something that's robust and proven.
It does what it says on the tin, as Atlas would say, and I think we're going to see exactly that here in Game 1. We are ready. Let's hop into the rift for Hanwha Life versus Nongshim.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
All right, here we go. Game number 1 of this matchup, and game number 1 of Yunara in the LCK. We did have it 4 games in Challenger League. DK's Wayne, HLE's Pyunshik, KT's Padak all got wins, and then Lazy Feel from DRX got a loss. So it's been played a lot down there in Challenger League.
Yeah, coordination isn't as crisp in Challengers, but often you would think playing a AD carry like this could be trickier in those situations in Challengers because it's just always fighting, always engaging all the time. We're going to have a pretty aggressive position here for Delight at level 1, but Calyx is not even going to waste his stun for that. So Ghost here I think is going to be kind of the standard common summoner spell for Yunara because it allows her to chase down. And when you're winning a fight, and she wins more so hard because her W slows, so you get chased down, you do tons of damage with your Q or your ult, which allows you to just have Q on demand. You don't have to use the autos. And you can Ghost to chase as well. It gives her some additional mobility when she is potentially caught. But Ghost isn't going to be what's going to save you into a Wukong who's on top of you. But it is great for mobility. So here's some of that trading early here that the Lulu is going to allow for.
Yeah, just got to try to dodge the Gleaming Quills and yeah, getting the zoom in on the new champion. I like it. Definitely going to be some early lane dominance to Yunara Lulu. And there's Delight. He hits it, so little heal comes through. That's the annoyance of the Rakan. Sometimes doesn't care about the lane if he can hit his Qs.
Yeah. You guys could see her abilities to the bottom left. Just keep an eye on that Q stacking as keep an eye on this. That's not the trade Calyx wanted. You know, I wanted to say earlier, and I think I'm happy to say it. Like, in the LCK, I want to say our AD carries hit a little bit different than other regions. You know, what may be risky in one region is a little bit better here in LCK, but I think that's not accurate. Maybe what we should say is our AD carries don't get hit different. They don't get engaged on. Their positioning is phenomenal, and sometimes a pick like Yunara works better here, Valdez, because positioning is paramount, and our AD carries are so good at it. As Gideon does have vision control. This Barrage, they're gonna punish potentially.
Yeah, excellently done here by the side of Nongshim. The bait is just perfect, and Calyx sets it up nicely. He's just sitting there like a piece of candy, essentially, and then Zeka gets caught, and there was nothing he could do. No attempt to flash away because he was already dead.
That was a really nice bait there, as you guys could see. Debut, first game she is available. She's played, which is actually quite an anomaly for the LCK. We often have strong champions that are just permabanned for a while, or a little bit more niche. You know, you don't see it for a day or two before it comes out, so happy to see that we get this one right away, as Zeus is really controlling this lane up here. And even though Peanut is a pre-6 Wukong, they can't put the pressure onto Gideon as this lane swap will come through. A ton of minions being lost in the bottom side. King is going to have to TP as soon as possible to get what he can of that. So watch this again. Like you mentioned, it's a bait. Calyx here has his stun prepped. And look at this. Goes in for the flash. As you can see the moment Zeka realizes that something is wrong, but it's just too late.
Yeah. It's really... you know, even if he Qs as well, like the anti-Q, you know, maybe he could like get some distance, flash away to the left, or the right bush rather, but the fact that he flash W's in his anti just means there's no counterplay, so. Nice job controlling the wave, and collapsing in and taking advantage of that situation. Not gonna be a fun time for the Rumble to lane into Yunara and Lulu, that's for sure.
That's for sure. See how long he wants to keep this up. Does have his TP for now. The tempo did go to Nongshim on the faster swap. They sacrificed a few minions down there on the bottom side for it, but Kingen was not having a good time in the lane anyways. Feels like it's a pretty good setup here for Nongshim at the moment, as long as Kingen can get into some of those minions. But it's a similar issue here for Zeus. We'll have to get what he can under the turret. And even though we had that kill to go over to Gideon in the mid lane, Zeka holds flash advantage. As, yep.
You saw that Polymorph come in trying to deny the cannon, but he actually got it anyway. So that was really funny. It was actually a good attempt by Lahens, but
clean.
Wasn't meant to be. You see Zeus backing, maybe thinking he's going to get dove here. He's pretty weak situation in that top lane being pushed in.
Peanut is going to go for this dragon here, despite the fact that scuttle control is not theirs. I think this is wise, as we're going for an all-in.
Yeah, the dive is pretty good, but the flash on in, the last auto gets it done, and he trades onto Lulu. Adu's going to hold on to his flash, though.
Yeah, I think that's a win, though, for Hanwha Life. I mean, Lahens gets the kill with the Ignite, and it's a Rumble that gets the kill in exchange there. So, you know, if that kill goes over to Gio, I think this feels a lot better. He is definitely playing towards that late game with the cull he's purchased here, and that would have been a lot of money for him to pick up, but he's not quite able to do so. Zeus still had TP as well, so gets straight back to the lane here and can shove this wave in. No problem. Does pick level 6 up as well. And the prio that they had in mid, because Calyx got the kill, right, but he didn't have flash, and they maintain that control with the Orianna, means that they get that first Drake here, and they get it so quickly that the grubs are still available. Topside control is potentially flipping on its head, as Zeus is in trouble.
Yeah, he doesn't have flash, and he's going up against the Polymorph, so I think he knows he's dead at this point. And there it goes. They give the kill over to Jiwoo. You saw that he got level 6, and he was thinking about putting down the equalizer, but he didn't. Got a little greedy, stayed up in the wave.
So this is the initial play here. Zeus plays this really well, does have his overheat available. Even though the polymorph timing is great, he's still able to do just enough damage there with a flash forward onto Lahens to get the kill, and Lahens unfortunately steals it away with the Ignite. Now this arc, you see that Geo W there that comes through, is deceptively insanely powerful in these types of skirmishes because it's an insane slow, and there's just no way that flashless Rumble can get out. So nicely timed gank there from Gideon.
Yeah, we'll play here. Some trading as Delight is just walking by, and now Calyx in a bit of trouble. He doesn't have his flash, and yep, 1QW gets it done. As the command attack in there.
It's really important for Zeka to have a lane dominant performance like this, especially after dying early, to continue that prio to set these plays up. Viper will have to flash.
Yeah, just kind of walking into the river, and he's going to get punished for this big time. No flash, no ult, and the kill is given over to Kingen on the Gwen.
That's a pretty huge win for Nongshim there across the map, as we have the teleport gank from Lahens.
Yes. Can they actually get the kill? Not with this TP coming through from Delight.
Yeah, so it's a trade of support TPs, so ultimately not the biggest win here, but still something. Zeus is chilling though. I would say big chillin' even.
He is, very much. He has been pressured quite a lot, and yet still he's doing very well. It's just another look at the play on a Calyx.
Yeah, sometimes you want to go for these tempo ults when you're getting pushed in like this, but it's just not a trade you're going to win into the Orianna. I mean, the fact that Delight is there means he dies, but I don't know if that was really the angle he was looking for. Here, Viper just takes the wrong path into the river for some reason. Kind of an unusual, uncharacteristic mistake for a player who's so storied. Does have his ultimate, so I guess feels a little bit safer, but I'm not sure what the idea was there. He's punished for it, and also, like you said, loses his ult. So both of his safety tools gone. His ult will come back before his flash, but that's a huge win for Nongshim, who are significantly ahead in gold here in this early game.
Yeah, you can see their bottom lane is doing very, very well, especially after that kill that went on to Viper. He's denied some farm. And, of course, the kill and the assist that went to Yunara, Jiu, who was making some plays up in top lane against Zeus. So that's going well. The jungle's going very well for Gideon, who is quite ahead of Peanut at the moment. So really for Hanwha Life Esports, it's just kind of the mid lane. I mean, Zeus is doing pretty well himself, but it doesn't feel like he's ahead enough. But we'll see as this game comes along. I mean, 1,000 gold at 9 minutes is actually pretty significant for Nongshim already.
Yeah. I do think that still some of the questions we have about how this Yunara team fights will still be there, even if she is now doing quite well in the lead, as Zeus going to have to equalize.
Yeah, the needle's going to miss, and still doing a bunch of damage. The exhaust already used. You see Zeus spacing very well, but he's still going to lose the trade, technically. Peanut and Gideon show up, so I think we're going to have a stall in the action.
Peanut does have Flash and Cyclone, so King and I think will have to just be willing to let this crash. I don't think he wants to be walking up there to try to go toe-to-toe here with Zeus, even with his jungler there. It does respectfully do so. I'm most concerned about what's going to happen when we start getting to dragon fights here, because even early, this composition here for Hanwha Life just kind of slaps. So, it doesn't need items, it doesn't need massive item leads to win skirmishes, because it does so by the virtue of how easy it is to press the circle buttons. And for Nongshim, in this case, like, that's the cancel button, like the North American region on PlayStation. It's not the yes button. And I think the circles are going to be a bad thing for Nongshim. So let's see what happens. They are going to have prio around this dragon right now. You can see they have a ton of vision around it. In fact, like, there's not one entry point to the dragon for Hanwha Life Esports here. And Zeus is even going to get pushed away.
Yeah. Getting pretty strong on the Xinjiao means that wherever he goes, his presence is felt. Got a little dive here. That ward is going to spot the Lulu. And I think they're still going to go for it. It is Wukong and, okay, it's just everybody. Instead of accept the Rumble, as they go on in, they just dive on into the mist. The Lulu ult's getting some big value there. Delight able to tank up a bunch of the shots, but that power up on the turret is pretty significant. Now Viper is going to finish him off, as now Lahen's in a bit of trouble, but these turret shots are doing a lot of damage. Will it matter is really the question.
Looks like a flash. They have to be careful.
Eventually, Lahen's, I think, just dies. Yep, there he goes. Peanut is going to trade, but now they have a lot of position here and pressure in the top lane.
Yeah, but somehow, Calyx got Zeus, and like they ended up getting a ton of play gold for this Annie bottom side. This was a very elongated play from the side of Hanwha Life Esports, so it did not come without cost, and it doesn't actually give them a gold lead. And Kingen actually going to be able to stop the backs here, despite it being Xayah Rakan. They're not able to sync that one up. As this comes back to this play here where Zeus is just caught. This is why they decided to go for that topside play. So they know Gideon's bottom, but Zeus just ends up taking it. I thought Calyx picked up the kill, but it was in fact just Gideon.
I mean, they're going for a 4-man dive top. You have to be away from the turret. I think that's a bit of a mistake from Zeus and a good play from Gideon.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is they knew Gideon was bottom, I think, which is why they made this play in the first place. It took a very long time, by the way, as we're looking for this again on the Zeus.
Yeah, I think he's just dead again. He doesn't have his flash. He's just picking up minions and dying. I mean, he's 1 and 4, and Gideon continues to visit the Zeus thrift store at this point, picking up as much gold as he possibly can. Now 3-0 and 2 on the Xinjiao.
Yeah, this is a very big Xinjiao. And, in return, you have a Orianna that's kind of ahead, but not that ahead. And starting to worry about how this mid game is going to look here for Hanwha Esports. So we may have just gotten to the point where this Gwen is going to be a huge problem. This Rumble is so weak that equalizers don't necessarily matter. So we're going to see a bit of a Hen's attempt here. I don't know what he was hoping was going to happen there, but Valdez, this game has gone a little weird pretty early on.
It's a lot of action, you know. We have a Mountain Soul that is on the way. I feel like that's going to be valuable for everybody, essentially. You want to try to survive against all the dive on the side of HLE, and then on the side of Nongshim, there's a lot of burst that you want to avoid. Just feels like both teams really are going to want to pick up the Soul and even the individual Drakes.
It is incredibly valuable for, you know, picks like the Wukong, the Gwen, Xin Zhao, but even a pick like Rumble is happy to have those extra resistances and be able to sit there and queue on top of people for just even an additional second actually makes all the difference. Redemption picked up here for both supports. That has kind of been the go-to, not even just for enchanters sometimes here at the LCK. It's just so incredibly strong in elongated fights. It can really help against Poe because King avoids the Harpoon. But I thought that would amount to something bigger, and it didn't.
He did avoid it, though. We got a zoom in from Jonah Strong at the same time, so you know.
Jonah Strong also seemed like he thought maybe that something was going to happen.
It must have meant something. All right, zooming in, and Viper, at least in this 1v2, not going to have a very fun time, that's for sure. Maybe trying to set up for something bot, but there's no objectives here at the moment.
Could look for a dive, potentially, with that mid-prio. Topside Herald isn't spawned yet, so I think Hanwha Esports definitely need to just back away. Do not try to hard force here. You don't have the numbers advantage on that bottom side. Yunara is very strong in the neutral when AD carries move to mid. It's something a few of our pro gamers mentioned in the pre-show. That is definitely one place where she can bully, especially when it's just a 1v1 interaction with a low-range AD carry like Xayah. You can see that at work already here for Geo.
Yeah. One thing I really like about Yunara is the sound that her autos make when her Q is empowered.
Very satisfying.
A little bit of positive feedback about the champion.
Yeah.
The way she plays, you know, I think we have yet to see what it's going to look like in LCK pro level. We've seen a little bit here and there, other regions, Challenger League, etc., as we mentioned before, but I've yet to see. So far, it's looking pretty good, but we haven't seen a real team fight yet. And that's what we mentioned, you know, this Hanwha Esports composition, that's where it's really going to shine.
Yeah, it'd be funny if this game was actually just decided by Gideon and everyone's like, see, I guess Yunara's viable in the LCK.
Yeah, must
Gideon
be.
got 3 kills early. As they're going to get this turret, it looks like here. Not really much King can do to stop it. Does get the redemption out, but it still goes down. Yeah,
and now he's getting knocked up, and the exhaust comes through. Shockwave as well. Counter exhaust comes in from Kingham, but he just doesn't have his ult. He doesn't have enough sustained damage. Another redemption going to come down. Tries to get the kill on the Delight, but eventually he just dies instead. As Kingham going a little bit too far there.
Kingan is definitely one of those players that, even on a fragile champion like Rumble we've seen in the past, he will try to skill check you. He's like, oh yeah, no, actually I outplay this if you guys think you can get the turret. Even on this Gwen though, unfortunately, he played it really well, but maybe the better choice would have been to back away. As, oh boy.
Gideon does not have his driver's license.
Yeah, -5 points on the test, I think, for scuffing the...
For crashing the car, I think you failed the test immediately.
Well,
actually.
I mean, it's kind of like he bumped the bumper on a higher curve. It's one of those low cars, you know. Like, I can give him the benefit of the doubt for that one. He almost made it through, sort of. It happened.
That turn is finicky.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. Maybe he'll at least remember to, like, slow down at the railroad crossing and, like, take a look out the window. Calyx is going to get ulted. He is dead.
Yeah, he tried to rocket belt out of the Shockwave. It didn't quite work out. Delight did nearly die, but keyword being nearly there, he is going to stay alive and help make the play happen.
I mean, they got the first turret. They're one objective away from feats, and they're going to get the second turret here for them of this game. So a lot of gold here for the side of Hanwha Esports. Remember, they were significantly behind in the early game, but they've really turned things around. And especially that lead in the mid lane for Zeka has kind of exploded here in this one. And if your Wukong is behind the enemy jungler, it doesn't really matter that much when it comes to team fights, actually. And it's not that significant of a lead anyway, so you can see that gold lead finally breaking through here.
Yeah, like the fact that Xin Zhao is strong is good for Xin Zhao, but Wukong still does his job, even if he is behind.
Nina may have to try to make a heroic play to stop this dragon, Valdez, because Nongshim are just on this so quick. They just do not stop it.
They got vision, and he was like, should I? And then he just elected not to. So I feel like maybe he could, especially with Flash, but instead he says, it's just one Drake, no reason to get crazy. Not yet.
That ends up being Nongshim getting feats of strength as well, and they're looking for potentially more here, but it's just going to be that aggressive Xin Zhao knock-up. We still haven't seen the team fight power yet here for Hanwha, and I think that the commitment topside there and that really heavy push from Zeki, even though he had TP, was not necessarily the best macro read. I think they could have come down here for the contest. I think before this, Yunara starts to explode with items. You know, that's when you want to strike. Already has the Yuntals. Is about to hit that second item, IE here, very soon. And the 3 items is where, you know, she's at her scariest. But even at 2, if you don't have a huge lead, and, you know, if an engagement goes wrong or you don't have prio, I mean, we may have, I don't want to say oversold how easy it is to shut down Yunara with Hanwha's comp, but if they never fight her 5v5, she kind of is like, well, I do a lot of damage to Dragon when I press Q, and we're going to get that one, and we're going to get more resistances now, so I'm a little bit safer as well.
Yeah. I mean, the Lulu's a great choice from Lehens, because not only was it good in the lane, but it also is going to be fantastic against all the dive. It keeps your Yunara in a much safer place. Calyx, he keeps trying to do that. It's not going to work once again. And now we got Gideon. We got the redemption as well. Lehens here as well. Will it matter, though? Calyx goes down, and now we got a 1v1 between our AD carries. Viper soon realizing that he does not win that. And now TP's coming in. A bit of a broken team fight as a flash. But it's not going to amount to too much as Equalizer comes down. Gideon is just burning so low. Giu looking for his angle, though, on the left side. Doing an insane amount of damage with these autos. And HLE immediately just gonna try to back away. Maybe looking for the re-engage here as Zeka trying to TP. He's gonna get out, actually. Even with the auto coming through, looks like he does live.
Wow.
HLE very carefully get out of there.
That was such an ideal scenario for Yunara. Like, everything is used elsewhere, and you can actually make that aggressive play forward. Gio was like, this is it. I'm going to get a triple in the first game.
It's my moment.
Because so much is used before Gio arrives that he actually has a ton of agency. And I think one of the critical moments you can realize here and how much game knowledge Viper has in a moment like this is he realizes he actually probably has to be the one to stop this Yunara from getting out of control in the fight. Because everything else is used. Cyclone is used. They use the Orianna ult as well. I can see this moment where Viper's like, I gotta try to look for this feather call to catch Gio, otherwise we just cannot win this extended fight. And this ult from Zeus really saves things. If he whiffs that or if he doesn't have it available, I think they just get run down and Gio absolutely obliterates all of them. They still have to use the defensive TP. It's still a wild scenario here, but I think, you know, that could have gone way worse.
47 HP is the call on the Orianna. And now we got Otacon started up here. We have the Annie TPing in at the same time. No TP for Zeus, so maybe trying to burst this one down, but again, this is very difficult, especially because Gio doesn't have summoners. And he's getting flanked on right now. It is going to hit Gio. They try to engage onto Isaiah. And now Zeka on the left is in a bit of trouble, but the rest of the team is just pressing forward. And Yunara is the first one to go down. This is exactly what we talked about. They just press their engage buttons, and Yunara has no summoners. And they're doing Otacon for some reason. I don't know, Wolf. HLE get a free team fight. And it looks like they'll get a free Otacon too.
Yeah, it's going to reset here for a second, so we'll be annoying, but it should eventually go down. Yeah, this is like the, remember how I was just a moment before, like, this is the perfect situation for Gio. This is the worst possible situation for Gio is he gets equalized here initially, has to then avoid Viper's feathers, and then gets caught by, as he chases forward towards an Orianna, the Shockwave. As they did not kite back, they wanted to aggressively win this, and I think Nongshim, with how close that fight went last time, they almost felt like they had like buyer's remorse that they couldn't quite get the value out of that last fight that they thought they should have gotten, so like, you know what, we'll just do it again. But it did not work out. And that's kind of the sort of team fight we expect to see with Yunara, but with some caveats. Obviously, she didn't have Flash. They were doing Otacon, and Viper was able to find a scary feather angle. But maybe chasing there was probably not the best situation for Gio, unfortunately. He maybe chased himself here. I don't think they can commit. That's a rumble.
Yeah. just a bit disappointed. You know, I feel like Nongshim had a really good angle against a team that, you know, even their head coach was like, you know, I kind of expected us to go 0-12. It's a really difficult group, you know? And even Nongshim are very self-aware of it, but they had such a great start to this game. And now I feel like after that one mistake of a team fight, they might be in a lot of trouble here, Wolf.
I think so. Still no flash for Gio. Cyclone's back. Viper's ult's back. And you don't have a lot of mobility. He has a lot of damage towards this dragon, but it's only a matter of time. TP here for Kingen. Zeus is just going to take the walk over. And that TP angle not great here for Kingen, but here comes the Calyx flank.
Yeah, trying to go in once again. The engagement Delight is excellent. And the Shockwave follow-up is gigantic. Just catches everyone. And nobody has summoners. Gio still doesn't have his. It's just the perfect situation for HLE's comp once again. Kind of beating a dead horse at this point, but you guys get it. Gio now left alone to, well, who's going to get the kill? It will be Peanut, and he is going to get it. So 2 team fights in a row. HLE just knock out of the park.
Combo. Like, the flank angle here for Calyx is such a detriment to this comp. He does blast cone in to try to help out, but he's denied entry by the Wukong, and then it's this comp here with the equalizer. Like, you mentioned it in draft, like when you're like, oh yeah, Orianna Shockwave into equalizer with the knockups and the potential charms from a Rakan. Like, it could happen. It usually doesn't happen like that. You know, we're like, yeah, it could be a crazy wombo, but the fact that they're able to just pull it off so easily as the Annie is just denied any relevance in the team fight. Gio, he didn't get caught. We'll give him that one, but the fight was over before he could auto. So.
Yeah. He understood his duty, essentially. It's like, I don't have flash, but my team is calling for this fight. Lahen's, yeah, well. Lahen's also understanding his duty, which apparently was to run into the dark jungle and try to get vision alone as Lulu.
Yeah, that's the thing about Lulu is when you're losing the game, you're not really going to get the vision back.
Yeah.
In most cases.
Well, so yeah, Wolf, I don't know. We had the 2 team fights where nobody had summoners, and, you know, Rakan, Wukong, Orianna, Rumble press their buttons.
It's crazy that, like, I mean this sincerely, as Peanut,
he's got a little bit of help here from Zeka, and there's the Shockwave. It's not going to do anything to Gideon, but it does keep them at bay. And now Viper's here. That's going to force the flash. TPs are, you know, coming in into top lane by Lahen's, but no real fight is breaking out.
Well, I mean this really sincerely, but you remember that equalizer in that fight where Gio is popping off, where Zeus locks out Gideon and they can't follow up?
Yeah.
Like, I think if that doesn't hit, Gio might actually get a triple kill, and we talk about this game completely differently. And we're like, wow, I guess Yunara's viable if you just position well and you fight your fights at the right time. And man, they wasted their engage tools. I mean, the potential is real. Like, this champ is so fed now. Like, imagine he has 3 extra kills. They win that fight. They take that top turret. It's crazy, like, how something so small like that can be a big difference maker. But then they kind of spiraled out of control with some poor decisions after that. The positioning there in that last Drake fight, the Otacon, was the real final nail in the coffin.
The real battle.
The real lost battle, in fact, where the game was, in fact, likely decided.
Yeah. Also the draft, too. I think that you're not generally going to want to see Yunara into this kind of composition, you know. You can make it work, you know. It just feels like they kind of forced it. I think Nongshim did a little bit of like, we're going to draft what we want. And you guys can take what you want, but we don't care about what you want. We're just going to focus on ourselves. And unfortunately, they gave the, you know, God Exodia draft over to HLE.
It's greed, you know. It's basically saying, you know, Gio's ready for anything. He's screamed into engage comps. He thinks he can handle this.
Sure.
And you and I were a little bit more skeptical. But if you can bait the engage onto someone else, yeah, maybe. Yeah, they got womboed. The anti-flank wasn't it. They played that last dragon fight like they were trying to pull some trickery and be like, aha, got him with the flank engage. I'm like, but you're playing a Yunara comp. Maybe just keep the Annie nearby so you can peel. You need all the peel you can get.
Yeah.
As this is a Baron that Nongshim knows happening but can't physically see, and so they have to kind of come over here. Gideon does not have flash, so I don't
Gideon is the one guy that they are worried about, and now he's just kind of out of the picture. Lens nearly dies, actually, to the burn, saved by Redemption. I mean, Nongshim are down 10,000 gold at this point, so
I thought that was Delight's Redemption for a second. I was like, is he going to get the snipe?
That would have been sick. What if he did it, like, on top of it, and he killed her right before their one hit?
Yeah, it wasn't, though, so I got hyped for nothing.
Yeah, we could dream. That would be some insane new level supportal combat.
You can see the team fight wins for Hanwha Life have involved 3 characters that all have massive KP, like the Wukong, the Orianna, and the Rakan. Who could have seen that coming? The Rumble has been pretty important in zoning and applying a lot of damage in these fights, but it's like Viper's playing this game like, well, I mean, I guess you guys don't really need me. Like, I will be there to help clean up, but it's really the combos that are deciding everything. And from this far ahead, it's so hard for Nongshim to play around those. I mean, the equalizer layered on top is just making it impossible to do anything now as Nongshim. And you can't avoid the combo when you're trying to come over and basically look for a Hail Mary play on Baron like Gideon was there. So, Twins all but over, Valdez.
Yeah, for sure. I do feel like Viper probably could have played whatever he wanted in this game. You were talking about his Teemo. Maybe not Teemo in this one. I think he would have had a really tough time in the lane, but still. Gonna get the Feather Storm out, and immediately the rest of the team is there to follow up. Zeus will go down, but it will not quite matter. Kingdom in the back line, but the wallets are just way too heavy at this point. And even making it kind of a close fight, given the gold lead. Nice job by Nongshim, but this game has been over for quite a while.
It's really funny how you mentioned Viper playing this pick, and then, like, at that moment he was probably, no, Battles are pretty good with they're pressing the R on this one.
Yeah, I like the Xayah.
I do like the Xayah angle. He does ultimately die, but man, he absorbed a lot there, and the rest of his team cleaned up. At the end of the day, Hanwha Life Esports, maybe with a rocky early game, there's some issues in the side lanes, but with a 10,000 plus gold lead, do clean it out. And it ends up being a one-sided game once Nongshim make just one mistake. And we keep going back to these fights where the setup just doesn't make sense. They're overconfident to try to take these objectives. And in the Legend group, you can't get away with that. You might get away with that with Sleepy DNF. You might get away with that with a bro that's trying to be overly careful, overly slow, and not being proactive. But against Hanwha Life, they're like, that's an illegal Otacon. Your AD carry doesn't have flash. We have all our ults. Good luck.
Yeah, maybe on their side, it's like, well, we have to set up on the objective. That's the only way this works, because we have to peel off, and then, like, we have to go for the turn, but then they got kind of, like, surprised by Zeus's flank angle. I'm not really sure, but whatever the situation, it just really did not end up very well, and that's why we had this insane ballooning of gold that went to HLE. So that was game 1. It kind of ended the way we expected. It didn't quite start the way we expected. We'll see if Nongshim can get back on the horse from probably the blue side for game number 2, but we'll have to wait until after the break for that one. We'll see you guys after the break.
확인하게. 우리 바텀 다음 라인에 볼 거야. 나 뒤에 파고 잘 파고 볼게. 기다려봐. 야, 일단 포탑 치면서 봐. 포탑 치면서. 나 미리 깼고. 야, 애니 높여, 애니 높여. 유나라. 뒤에 그웬 때. 그웬 맞아, 그웬. 엔터. 나 높여. 미드 가면 끝나. 미드.
Because of how many impactful shockwaves he set up combos with. You could go Delight as well, I think, but let's move into the second draft because we're not going to talk about Yunara anymore.
Yeah,
I don't feel like we didn't
I'm
learn that
happy
much.
about it. Yeah.
I feel like we didn't learn that much. Like, everything we said leading into, like, okay, I don't think this is an angle where this could be picked for Nongshim, and they picked it, and then they got crushed, even though they had that one good team fight. Like, we kind of already saw what we expected to see, so maybe in the second series today we'll learn something more. Yone banned against Zeka in 2025.
And Zeus.
True, but mostly Zeka right now, I would say.
Mostly Zeka. You don't see it flex very often, but we did mention that this is the team that you kind of have to ban Yone against, and a lot of our teams have done it. Not everyone, and not always do Hanwha pick it either. I feel like they do have a lot of tools in their toolkit. They're not just a Yone-only team, obviously.
Calix, his best champion is his Azir. His most played champion is his Azir. The most blindable, safest first pick right now for mid on blue side is Azir. So I think after this Pantheon ban, we will see the Azir banned by Hanwha Life Esports. I was going to say for Red Force here, it's a little bit more ambiguous what they want to take away. They do ultimately decide to take away the Trundle from Peanut after taking away his Vi. We have seen Peanut struggle a little bit on the Vi on recent BO5s, but still a very strong, potent pick they do not want to get over. It does leave Talia up if you do this, but like, I think you're happy to say no to Azir for Calix instead. I'm a little bit surprised. Maybe they want to trade this, because that would give Zeka the opportunity to play the Talia into the Azir, but I like this choice more, as you guys can probably tell from how I led into this.
Yeah, and now it's really up to Calix. Does he pick up the Talia, or does he look elsewhere? Thinking about the Rise, and we have seen Rise a decent amount more. Feels like he's very slowly crept up in Prio.
At the highest level, you can do so much with the Realm Warp in pro play. In coordinated pro play, you are just kind of insane if you have map control and basically cheat distance at any point in time. The Talia into Rise feels okay, but it's more about how she can match side lane pressure, because the Rise can Realm Warp to a side lane, and so Talia needs to be able to do the same, or show up to an objective, cut an objective in half. Like, some things Talia Wall can do that Rise Realm Warp cannot. And that is going to be the option that Zeka goes for here. Jungle is a bit thinned out in terms of a lot of our picks here. So I'm curious, you know, we've seen Maokai crop up a little bit more. If Peanut's looking in that direction, I don't think you necessarily want to show that one right now, though. Could look for a prio pick in the bottom lane. I feel like even grabbing something like an Alistar here, they feel like the, or a Nico, would be a pretty safe bet. And that's what they're going to opt for.
Yeah, and with the Nico, could be looking at a hefty amount of engage from her, obviously, but what are we going to see as her lane partner? What does Viper want to play? I mentioned the Kai'Sa before. I feel like it's difficult to just pick Kai'Sa Nico straight up and hope not to get pushed out by Kai'Sa's low range, but at least the Nico helps with that. Thinking about the Shen into the Nico.
So double global here. The Corki is really interesting. The Jhin, I'm okay with in this draft so far, but I think we're going to have to see what those final two picks are before we can really commit. It's going to be Sivir instead, which feels very safe. Like, you have wave clear control in the mid lane, you have a Rise, and you have the global of that Shin, so you can kind of be where you want to be as Nongshim in the mid game as long as you're not massively far behind. They want to play the global game. A lot of the time, against a lot of AD carries, say this is a Kalista angle, even though Kalista has fallen off big time. But I think in this case, with the Sivir on the other side, it's just not worth it. They opt for the Kai'Sa instead that you were alluding to earlier. Not a great target for her to dive on just yet in this draft, though, to be honest.
Yeah. Still very strong. I mean, we have seen a lot of our AD carries really pop off on this pick. Even Hype had that big comeback against DNF on the side of Bro, and he had a insane Kai'Sa performance as they were coming back. And obviously, I feel like Viper's Kai'Sa doesn't need too much of an introduction, but
how deep?
Just know that he's insane.
How deep are we going to go, Valdez, in the jungle pool here? Poppy is now also gone with the already showing of the Shen that Kingen will never play in the top lane.
Peanut's taking off the jacket, so you know he's getting a little stressed.
I do think that Camille is a very smart ban, because yeah, Peanut's getting stressed, I can imagine. I don't think he'll play Shyvana, though, so it's okay.
Please.
Camille is the strongest top laner in any scenario with a draft like this for Nongshim, so you know, like if it was Galio instead of Ryze, you'd be like, oh my god, it's a Giga Camille angle.
Yeah.
But, see a ban on the Scion in return. There's no Trundle available, of course. This is where things are going to get weird. I think I'd rather save counter pick for Zeus and grab a jungle here for Peanut.
Yeah. J4 is popping up as just one of those picks into Sivir, especially because she's great at running around and being annoying, but if you just Cataclysm her, she can't avoid that, and then she can't run out of it, obviously. Doesn't have a lot of mobility outside of her speed, so seeing that a lot.
I do almost feel like you could still play Sejuani here with like a Jax. You know, there's a lot of picks that synergize really well with it, and it's decent into the Jarvan. I'm gonna go for the Nocturne instead, it looks like here. So, I mean, how much more global can this comp really get? Galio top, blind.
Yeah. I mean, you could.
You definitely are gonna have a hard time side laning into what Nongshim Red Force have, whatever you're playing, Zeus.
Or throw Ryze in the top lane, depending on matchup. You know, could be doable.
Could be.
Jace doesn't have a global.
No, but his Rock Blast goes pretty far.
It does, yeah.
Not quite global, though.
Yeah, it's not that far.
There's a lot of different things you could do here as Hanwha Life. You could just play Cassante or Ornn and eat the Shock Blast. But you could have more fun and pick Malphite and play Malphite Nico Jarvan and say, Sivir, you only got one spell shield, good luck.
You know?
Yeah, they're just going to play Cassante.
Yeah. You know, shout out to Chronicler, Malphite's biggest fan.
Well, I mean, I guess when Nocturne turns the lights off, you can't really see where you're supposed to ult, and it's not really... Like, Cassante's like, oh, no, I can't see. I guess I'll just still be tanky and walk towards
I'll just be OP anyway, so it's fine.
I do think that the draft for Nongshim is stronger. Yeah, I think it has a lot more synergy. It has tons of pressure with the Jace inside. You have Sivir's wave clear, and you can show up to fight anybody at any time. Like, if Hanwha Life Esports are rotating over with Nico Jarvan to try to get a pick on Jace, and Hanwha see that, they just ult the other side of the map and kill whoever's there and get the turret. So, if played perfectly macro-wise, I think there's way more potential in Nongshim Red Force's comp. But will they play better? Put the nameplates on? Not so sure, but I think this is going to be a better game than Game 1, because I thought the Game 1 draft for Nongshim was incredibly risky. This one feels like it's not only a solid draft with good synergy, but it's a draft we've seen Nongshim play so many times. That's why Lahenza Shen was banned in Game 1.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, like, I really like the Nongshim draft as well. It's so hard for me to take the nameplates off for this one. Like, it's just so hard. And there's some good nameplates on for the side of Nongshim, too. Like, you got Lashen. I think he does incredibly on that, but that bottom duo for Hanwha Life Esports on those champions, I am scared for Nongshim. We'll see if they can handle it here in game number 2.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 미니언 생성까지
So,
30초 남았습니다.
Production's asking the real questions here, and he needs to know, is Malphite's fan or friend, or both? So this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, Wolf.
I think Chronicler may have somewhat of a parasocial relationship with Malphite.
Wow, calling him out. Oh, love that taunt. Pulls him back in. Peanut is still going to flash and is still going to die, giving the first blood over to Kingin.
That is massive. That Jace to have a lead early into the Cassante is insane. He's going to be able to get back to lane as well. Super fast with boots. Oh, Zeus is still going to be tanky in Cassante, but Kingin's got a lot more agency now.
And it was nicely pointed out by Jonah Strong that Lahenz had taunted over the wall and was going for this nice little wraparound. Gets behind him. Peanut has to flash before the taunt in order to have any chance of making it.
Yeah, he at level 1 can't flag drag out of that one, so...
I like the response there. It's like, oh, everything went wrong, I'm going to sleep. It's like, I'm just taking a nap. No, it's over.
Just these things with Lahenza Shen, man. You feel pretty safe as a Jarvan to just go to your Raptors, but I don't know how to explain this, and I said it earlier, but it feels like a bait where you're like, there's no way Shen will be here. Like, I'm fine. Like, I'm Jarvan, I'm okay. No. Shen for Lehens has been such a demon pick where we've even seen him like get solo kills in weird situations. Yeah. He is a master of this champion, knows its damage really well. Of course, is Igniteless now, but I mean, already making this early 2v2 look a lot better than I think most would say it should on paper.
Yeah, it's just the power of the Sivir. You know, the poke from the Nico doesn't do anything, and then you have the range advantage in a Viper. But if they if they get on top of you, they're gonna have a good time. So no passive proc on its you at least, but I am curious as to how that happens.
I think it's just heal advantage for Delight, allows them to close the gap there because it's barrier for Geo. So the mobility that Delight gets gives them that extra speed. Because Lehens went Ignite, obviously.
And just kind of run at them.
I think that's what happened. I don't know if we'll get a replay of it or not, but I can just obviously see Delight has his heal on cooldown, and I think they just stepped too far, too forward, and then, like, got him.
Yeah, got to be very careful. Still have a lot of damage. Nice trading here from the side of Calyx. And Phase Rush also comes out. So both of them just disengage, but Zeka not going to be happy about his current state of the lane.
Pretty frustrating as Talia. So we'll have this again, heal. That's also kind of Lehens lurking in the alcove there that kind of puts him too far forward.
Yeah, I think he was in like the most forward brush, and then they just ran at him, and he wasn't expecting that, and then they just kind of ran the Shen down, and he's melee, and yeah, eventually press heal, engage.
Ooh. Close to a stop on that back there from Viper. Has cleanse, of course, so probably wouldn't have led to a kill, but would have been pretty frustrating. He gets it off just the same. Yeah, Kingen has shoes, and so he is kind of hurting the spacing opportunities for Zeus in this matchup.
Yeah. If this were solo queue, Zeus would have quit the game.
Oh, yeah.
Or just trolled. You know, maybe start taking the jungle camps or...
He'd be pinging Peanut for two reasons. Because A, Peanut gave the first blood to Kingen, and B, because he needs Peanut to camp his lane. Because of
where's the jungler?
Yeah. I guess I don't have a jungler.
Shen.
Jungle diff. I see an assist in that Gideon guy over there. I don't see anything on my jungler, and he was the one who caused this problem.
Yeah. I do wonder what goes through the heads of people who say stuff like that. It's just the solo queue mentality, I guess. But
everybody wants to win, and no one wants to take responsibility.
It is what it is.
I don't know if Zeus should take responsibility for his jungler dying, but, you know. Nobody wants to take responsibility about this.
Peanut's like, I'm very scared of this guy, and Gideon had a ward in the brush, which he placed, so he was able to smite that away. Being very aggressive on level 5 Nocturne, something you don't see all the time.
It's because of this prio, you know, in the lane here that Kingen has. He's got his tonic in hand. Well, likely in pocket, I suppose, but maybe in his vest.
Maybe he pulled it out, you know?
He's just showing it off.
I don't know if you can hold that giant, you know, what is it, Hextech hammer gun thing that Jace holds while also holding a potion.
This is one of those Lishen's moments we were talking about, by the way. Like, this isn't going to be a solo kill, but Lens was definitely calculating the possibility of it being so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. If he could really hold both, though. I'm going to say probably no. This is probably in his pocket or vest or something.
He is very strong. And maybe he could put the hammer down, but then, you know, you're not very mobile.
Imagine if he balances the tonic on the edge of the hammer, and when he swings, he just tosses the tonic into the air, and then after he's done fighting, it lands perfectly on his hammer, and he continues with his business.
He's got to throw it really far in the air. No stun here from Zeka. The rocks weren't on the ground, so he just knocks him back. Maybe it was cooldown, and he saw the angle while Peanut's coming through, but either way,
good flash timing.
Yeah, that he just flashes.
Phase rush is pretty strong, but the flash is really what saves him there. And slower early game now after that first kill, but the effects of that first blood can be felt in the top side of the map. The vision that's there, the pressure that was there on the top side, Zeus' deficit in CS. These things can really hurt how you play out the first few minutes of the game. Peanut is going to, with this leader back here for Kingen and no TP, get a free dragon. Because of that gank, right? Like, he ganks mid, Calyx has to flash him back, bottom side, Zeus is there faster, so Peanut is the winner of that. That's a big win here for Hanwha Life Esports. No one going to come over and even peek at this dragon.
Well, you took a little peek with the ward.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, with their eyes. Like, no one's going to even, like, reach over and be like, is there a possibility of this? No.
Yeah. Just going to let it go. We have another first Drake, Hextech Drake, which is kind of interesting. This time it's Cloud next instead of Infernal. Still ended up getting Mountain, which would have been pretty critical if we ever really got to the Drake fights in that first game. Kind of just ended on the Otacon pressure, and then the game was over. But yeah, pretty passive at this point. I like how Gideon's really trying to utilize his early lead.
Yeah, and he has level 6 now, so this is where things are really scary. Like, look at the setup with Calyx. Maybe you want to come up and stop me from clearing this ward. Maybe you want to come and protect Viper and Delight. What if there's a Nocturne in waiting? I respect that. Zeka will, but if anyone steps away from a turret, they can collapse on them. Yeah.
Were you responding to Sivir?
Yeah. Nice spell shield, yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty good. Dean's even taking the red.
I don't know if Peanut can be here.
He agrees, actually. So that's, yeah, he just flag dragged over the wall.
If that fear goes off, he's like not able to flag drag there.
Can he be here though? I don't know. And totally just disrespecting the potential vision. Peanut will get punished.
You know, Krugs are solid, but they're not quite a turret. And I think if you're outside of range of a turret and not Cassante, like I said, you know, he's gonna press R, and you're gonna die. And Peanut was very seen. He was observed. They knew where he was. And like, you go check this because like there's a ward here, right? But even if there's not, I think someone, you know, will like come over here and check this. Like the Hens will just go over the wall because if he's not here, he's like backing. You're like, whoa, we just stopped his jungle tempo entirely. So I get it for Peanut. He's like, well, I got to get something here, but I think probably should have just taken the L on farm on that one because he loses even more as a result.
Oh, Smote at 6 health was the Scuttle Crab. And it's probably worth, honestly. Lehens definitely could have stole that.
Does kind of impact for a brief moment his ability to contest these grubs, but I don't think it'll matter too much. As just for a moment, we're watching Cassante get hit. And you know what? They actually decide to push up into the top side here and push out Viper using the Sivir Prio. Unfortunately, it's not fast enough to actually deny this grub take. Peanut does have that smite back up here, so he should be able to secure at least one. Actually, kind of a low-value play there from Nongshim.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they're quite in the right spot. Now we got the root coming down and the Kaisa to join, and the Talia on top. Lehens, no flash, used it in the kill on the Peanut. And a nice setup here from Delight.
Without the Nocturne ultimate, I suppose they just really thought that taking that fight was going to be too risky straight up, so they wanted to kind of cheat it by pushing Sivir into the top lane and pushing Viper out, then returning, but they were just a little bit too slow, and Delight pulls the trigger super fast there and gets the punish. So there's no Shen ultimate. Like, look at this setup here. This is, of course, zoomed into while it's already over, while it's already too late here. Lens just kind of trying to see what he can see, and yeah, down he goes. But like, they didn't have any control whatsoever. Nocturne all back up.
Trying to get in there. Gonna get the flash out of Zeka. It's a win, technically.
See all the counter jungling, I should say. Invasion of the jungle here by Gideon. And he's taken a lot of the camps away from Peanut. And that top side control you can see in particular from that Jace Prio was pretty huge. And now he's gotten 2 high value ultimates. Again, unfortunately, didn't have it for that grub fight. Hanwha Life do pick up all 3. But they're running, you know, Cassante Talia in this comp, so I don't know how much side pressure they're going to get.
I guess he really did fail that. I thought he was just checking over the wall. But, like, accidentally pressed Q. Yeah, looks pretty silly, so he gives us the top of the morning, knows that he's being followed by the Observer.
They do have a lot. Yeah, they do have a lot of vision on this bottom side. Calyx just walks it off. And I don't know if they can dive this, but they certainly want to try to make a play. And now with Lehens aggressively posturing, maybe I spoke too soon.
Yeah, Gio might be in a bit of trouble here. And this is the thing about the Jarvan. You have to flash it if you're Sivir. He just presses R, and it's kind of like what we saw from Nocturne against Talia, but even more punishing And now we've got a Sivir without sums with the Dragon up in 10 seconds and had to back as well to Jiwoo.
Yeah, Calix shows up with TP, but it's so late. He's just going to hard push bottom instead and try to get some plate value, it looks like here. As they are going to have to stick around if he's going to get those plates, because obviously HLE do have so many members here to defend. A lot of farm being lost in the mid lane during all of this. I think Nongshim, if they don't get the Dragon out of this, and they didn't actually get this plate either, not going to feel great on the play. But ultimately, we'll be able to take that Dragon. For now, Delight does have Flash ult, but there's no follow-up here. So they will get away with this. They will get the Dragon. I feel like that was a lot closer to a win for Hanwha Life Esports than needed to be outside of, obviously, the big win they got getting the Flash there for Jiwoo. Nongshim playing on the edge, still trying to continue to do so here. They do not want to waste the fact that there was a TP here for this Rise and the nuclear he has. So like, we got to get anything we can in this jungle.
Yeah.
And I think it's a relatively safe play at this point with no Cataclysm for Peanut still.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. It kind of just felt like HLE after that play, they just took the back foot and they said, we're not fighting for any real reason here. We want to go back, we want to buy our items, we want to reset. And
it is Chemtech Soul in this game, so I guess they're kind of rewarded by not taking the risk on that one.
Yeah. You know, I guess Ox was a little bit bored after game number 1, so he's just a little bit out of touch here for game 2. That's okay. We had Mountain Soul in the first one. It's not like that crazy streak we had of like 7 in a row.
Yeah, well, not yet.
Not yet, yeah. It was a streak of 1 at the moment. No Spell Shield there. Might be his doom, but the Mega Escape Disengage Cone is going to help him out.
Out he goes.
At least he was like kind of planning around that, you know?
Yeah.
So in that case, it's fine.
If he had no Blast Cone and didn't Spell Shield that shove, I think we all would have probably lost our minds a little bit. Pretty easy to Spell Shield that one, but holds it, gets out anyways. He's a Hex Plate user, so I'm not a big fan of that, but
it feels like everyone is doing Hex Plate nowadays.
I know.
They go Stridebreaker.
I guess this is not really, like, this is not the comp you want a Stridebreaker into, to be fair.
Yeah. And, you know, why not both? Some of them are saying nowadays. We'll see what Gideon does go next.
This is the power of this side lane pressure with the Jace that's ahead with the Nocturne. Zeka's like, I don't want this turret to go down, but kind of need some help up here. As if I try to hold the turret, they have enough burst to just take me out. And with the Shojin variant that Kingen went for with this build, still incredibly powerful. You can see that response from Delight is being respected. Like, Gideon is very aware that he's pulling people to the top side of the map right now, and he's like, that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to push the issue any further.
Yeah. Bit of a push in from Zeus. Has TP, but he's just walking instead.
Yeah.
Because of that push.
Alex has Realm Warp, but he's so far away, and the Herald now is under the control of Hanwha Life Esports, at least the zone around the pit. They have that Scuttle as well as some vision. And even though they wanted to get that pick on the Zeka, he just backed away. Now actually can TP back in to that top lane, gets it back for free, and Nongshim almost got something out of that extra pressure there, but weren't quite able to convert. And even with these backs going over for Hanwha Life Esports, they still don't get that Herald. The Rise is winning the side lane, obviously into the Cassante, so eventually they'll start to whittle down on that turret, but Hanwha Life Esports just sitting back and waiting for a better moment. Kind of like the position here, though, for Nongshim, because they can force fights on their terms right now. It's so hard to rotate in. Speaking of forcing fights.
Yeah, gonna get the taunt down. Peanut really doesn't want to use his abilities, so he's just gonna run over to his Raptors.
It's hard for Zeka to take the right engage angle here with his Weaver's Wall. It's a really challenging problem he's gonna have to try to solve here, and I don't know if that's quite it. We'll cut off some of the Nongshim members temporarily.
We had a TP coming in, HLE committing to this one. The taunt comes down and Peanut can't do anything. He just kind of dies as the engage is decent, but it's still looking good for Nongshim until Viper gets into that backline, assassinates 2, but now he's getting pretty low, and Nongshim, the rest of the team is just so healthy. Calix frontlining on this Rise. Maybe he gets punished by Zeus a little bit, but no, Zeus gonna get baited on in, and Jiwoo untouched the entire fight. Will be able to help the double kill go the way of Kingen.
Looking like this one might be headed to 3 Valdez after that fight. A huge miscalculation, I think, on the side of Hanwha Life Esports of how that fight's gonna break out. The Weaver's Wall pulls the rest of Nongshim to the side, but they don't have any follow-up. Like, Peanut's on Raptors when this happens. Can't engage on anybody. It's a Shen at the front line, so they just kind of wait it out here. Shock Blast gets a little bit of damage done. maybe they were expecting that the Cassante is going to outpace this Rise, but the Roma comes through the ult here from Delight, also not hitting critical targets. Yes, Viper does get into the backline, they do get those 2 kills, but the carries here for Nongshim are untouched. The Rise and this Sivir just do so much damage, and Zeus loses Flash, thinks he can get this kill here, but Kane comes over to peel, and Gio ends up cleaning up. So it's a massive win here for the side of Nongshim around the objective, and fans are rewarded for their trust here. And, you know, again, the Talia, I don't want to blame Zeka too much for the wall angle, because it is really tricky. And if you mess it up, you ride in at the right angle, or the right angle for Nongshim, then they just kill you.
Yeah. No, it's very true. That did seem like HLE were a little bit split on if they wanted to even fight for that, especially because Peanut kind of got chunked a little bit earlier by the Shen and the Sivir. So they go for it, and ultimately it ends up being pretty good for Nongshim. As everybody grouping down on the bottom side, Nongshim TPing into this one, but the Cataclysm comes down and Kingan's just dead. And now we got a TP coming in here, but Calyx not able to do much, has to back away. Paranoia already used.
Yeah, that's not the side lane champion I'd be paranoiaing into.
He's just kind of running into the enemy team. He's going to go down. Could have ran south with Calyx. Instead, he decided not to.
Calyx also probably going to have a problem getting out here against this.
What did they mean by this, Wolf? I want you to break it down. There's no play-by-play here. It's just 3 people individually dying for Nongshim.
I mean, they're going to get maybe an inner on the commitment there from Hanwha. And Hanwha actually have no turrets this game, so you can see it taking a while to get that one. This is not going to be a back-breaking win for Hanwha, but definitely shrinks the deficit. Look, you have sideline pressure, you have a Nocturne, you feel pretty good about, like, let's use that, you know? But it's better into a squishier champ. Oh, man.
Lehens.
Lehens, man, he was once a not-licensed haver, but he is, in fact, like, now going to be in the LCK F1.
Yeah.
But, like, Cassante... Yeah, we don't even need to show it. The Stinger is like, I'm not interested.
Yeah. Stinger actually didn't. Yeah, this is like, no, we're not allowed to see that again. No. All right, here we. Oh, no.
Yep. See.
Yeah, the Stinger.
Nice try, LCK. We're not going to watch that.
It's made a decision. Okay, please respect it.
Showmaker has hacked the mainframe, and he's like, we are not going to watch this a second time. Just see my copy pasta, and you'll know the rest. Because like you're trying to go onto a Cassante, and he's just going to be tanky enough to hold it. And then the turn was great there for Hanwha Life. Zeka obviously can Weaver's Wall in.
The TP came in, and it was like, I swear, even nowadays, I'm like, oh, he's got the TP, they're going to be there right away. And it took like 8 years for Calyx to actually show up. It was after Kingan had died that he even showed up, and Zeus had disengaged already. Yeah. And then Calyx is there, he's like, well, now what do I do, you know?
Yeah, when I TP back to lane, I usually go and heat up a coffee while I wait for it to go off. That's kind of my go-to. I don't know what you do.
I generally go feed the cats and, you know, get a water. Maybe I go outside for a little walk as well. Just,
make,
you know,
make
like
a funny
little
face
reset.
at Bryce on your way back.
Yeah, of course, of course. Hang out with my son a little bit. I think that, you know, it's really good to get up out of your computer chair after playing games for a while. Even if you're going to continue playing games, you know. So stretch those legs when you're TPing to lane.
Yeah, sometimes
it's gonna be a while.
If I've got tier 2 boots, my team is pinging me to TP, and I'm like, well, I mean, come on, like, let's not waste it.
I'll just run there.
Gideon's in,
this keeps happening. Gideon just kind of getting caught out. We do have the paranoia, but that's another kill going over to Viper, and he's looking for number 2. Not quite going to get it. Oh, now he's going in, gets the kill, flashes away, and immediately dies. Gideon is there for at least the alley-oop kill. But it looked cool.
If you're running the IG skin, I think you have to go for it. So,
yeah, no, you have to. Spirit of Jackie Love.
Yeah, Jackie Love would have gone for it. Delight.
Yeah, okay, they're going for the engage, but this looks pretty good for Nongshim, although Cassante does exist. Trying to take down Zeka, and not quite able to, actually. They do get Delight, but that's just the support. Zeus does pick up a kill and effectively gets away, so bit of a trade of kills there.
So if I was gone for a week, right? And I learned a lot from watching the LCK while I was away.
Yeah.
If I understand tempo vibes, I think Hanwha have it right now.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
I think Nongshim definitely do not have it. Even
they
though
had it, and then it was taken away.
Yeah. Like, the fact that Hanwha had, a lack of control in this game could do very little to come back, and then Nongshim gifted this over. Maybe they had it all along. Because in fights like this, it's just so broken up. Delight gets the full wraparound after an exchange in mid. Like, you got to be checking your corners, so to speak, you know? If you don't know where the support is, be careful. Because you already got the inner here. Like, what are you pushing for? And then Zeus is like, well, don't mind if I do get a free kill, because I'm very tanky. As you guys, I thought maybe have learned in the bottom lane, but maybe perhaps we not learned the lesson the first time. Maybe the second time around on this 4-kill Cassante, Life Esports will stay away.
Yeah, it's, you know, the 4-kill Cassante, even on gold, just because Kane got like a free laning phase, got the first kill, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So like, Zeus is actually really strong right now. It's really good that you put that into context, Wolf. But also there's the giant stripe of Viper, which he's really trying to utilize as well. This is what I was talking about, like these Kai'Sa players in the LCK just, they are insane, especially Viper, and the fact that he is so fed can become a bit of a problem. There are a lot of ways for Nongshim who do have a gold lead, which I feel like, you know, the tempo vibes are actually a thing where it's like Nongshim aren't really controlling the fights, even though they are ahead on gold.
Yeah, it's looking a little bit rough. Now, Delight does have his ultimate back up. This needs to be respected. And without side lane pressure, you can see the...
Okay.
I mean...
Didn't expect him to run that far forward.
Yeah, phase rush, sometimes you run forward. Usually you run back, but sometimes you run forward. Like, without really dominant vision control, it's hard to use your realm warp. It's hard to use your paranoia, right? Like, Hanwha don't have vision around this Otacon, like direct vision. Now they do, but like they had to fight for it. But because Nongshim didn't have Cryo on the top side, they're like, well, we don't really have an angle either. It's Hanwha Life to kind of slowly play around this Cassante and get that vision up anyways. You can see Calyx is like, I won't let you do that, and then Zeus just walks away. And so we reset. You really need to have a pressure point, like an anchor point for Gideon to ult to if you're going to take back control of this game as Nongshim. Because otherwise, like, Calyx is clearing wards, and Hanwha Life were like, well, I mean, maybe we just group for Dragon. You could see there was even a consideration of Viper of potentially soloing it on this Kai'Sa.
Nobody wants that Dragon.
They're going to Sivir push, and yeah, like you said, it is a Chemtech after all.
I mean, yeah. I'm even. I mean, if they do get the Chemtech soul point, then that is still going to feel very good. And it does look like, in fact, they will go for it in maybe a trade for Otacon.
Well, I mean, in this case, Zeka has TP, but I mean, Delight does not have Unsealed, and they are just simply going to give this up. The fear, I suppose, is if you try to collapse in mid to try to punish that Sivir push, you probably get ulted on and you have a bad time because they were a little bit split there. I think that call from Gio and Nongshim was really good. That's the power of Sivir in these types of, you know, neutral fights where you're fighting over vision. And Hanwha Life were on the right side of the map, so they couldn't say, well, we'll give up the push and then try to defend the Otacon. They kind of were like, well, we're already looking for a potential Drake take, and now we're kind of priced into it. I don't think TPing into that, the lack of vision they had would have worked out either because they would have been split. Peanut couldn't show up. So really good back row player from Nongshim around the comp that they're running. I mean, we said this earlier in the draft, like, Nongshim are good at this style. They have kind of mastered it. It's part of what got them this ahead and got them into the Legend group in the first place is these Shen, Rise, Camille, oftentimes global compositions.
Yeah, no, it's great to see them going back to that comfort and playing a composition that they should have confidence with, you know, like if everything else is going wrong, just go back to what worked, I would say. So a good shout there. Ju just pushing Calyx level 16 at the moment, very far ahead of everyone else, including his lane opponent, Zeka, who did not build a Rod of Ages.
Yeah, and Zeka, I mean, it looks like they're going to just force this turret down for the second of the game. I think there's no reason to try to hard all in on this, because guess what? There is, in fact, a Cassante here. Nongshim. I don't know about this one. Were you
revving your engines?
No, like the Taliyah wasn't showing, so they didn't know where Zeka was, and he could have TP'd behind or something. But like, if they tried to play towards pushing the Taliyah, maybe look for a Baron. And in fact, because of these split backs here, there is kind of a timing.
Yeah, they're just gonna go in on the Delight. I think he just dies. Very unfortunate for him there. Zeus also gonna TP into this one. Giant Shock Blast gonna hit Viper. The wall's coming in as Hanwha Life say, we are committed.
Go straight to Baron.
And Nongshim will take a big win after that mistake.
Yeah, it was really weird because of the timing of Zeka being desynced. They were like, we can't really fight them, but we can't back safely either. Nongshan played that so carefully, so slowly. We are going to have a contest. Peanut does have flash, and he is Jarvan.
There's no way they're going to take
They have to turn
3v5, right? That's the knockback, though. In they go. They burst down one, essentially, as the shield is huge, though, and in goes Viper, immediately going to cleanse, trying to do this 1v5. And eventually, Calyx just is going to take him down. That's the end of that. Zeka, though, doing a lot of damage. I think they still get the Baron here, though, as there you have it. Smoked down by Gideon, as HLE looking very desperate here.
You know, when we were at EWC, we talked to Finn, you know, quite a bit, Meteos, Peanut. That
We didn't talk to Peanut too much.
We didn't talk to Peanut that much. He was unfortunately sent home early, but we were like, you know, what do you guys think about Hanwha? Because we had obviously our opinions about how fast and loose sometimes they play things, how sometimes disorganized they are in moments like this. And they're both just like, they're a little bit disrespectful, you know? Sometimes it feels like they're just gonna hands it, and they're okay with that. They're not gonna actually have the best legitimate setup ever. And in fights like this, you can kind of feel that. On Life Esports sometimes just think, no, our engage is good enough, we've got a big enough Cassante, we win these, the backs were split. But it's more with fights like these where Viper's like, I have to carry this, they're being greedy, Peanut goes in. And, you know, they could have decided to try to look for a 50-50 and say, well, that's the best we can get. But instead, they try to, they basically call Nongshan out. They're like, no, they won't, they'll mess this up. And unfortunately for them, Nongshan didn't mess this up. And they ended up giving over some additional kills here as Baron is taken. So guess what? I mean, we're pushing inners. And Hanwha could have just looked for the Jarvan 50-50 because, you know, pit access is pretty good. But now they gave even more. Now it's a 4,000 gold lead again here for Nongshan.
Yeah. For some reason, it doesn't feel like Nongshan have broken open the game just yet. I think there are a lot of different reasons why. Like, that was obviously a really good fight from them, and they gained a lot from it, but it's not a gigantic gold lead. And also, Zeus feels comfortable, even without TP, to just, like, push the side lane against a Jace. Like, it doesn't feel like HLE are truly on the back foot yet.
Yeah, and if this was, like, Nongshan are on Soul Point, and it's a real Soul, you're like, wow, I mean, they can just kite back and take that with the vision that they got and the map control, the prio they got from Baron. But Nongshan instead get, like, an inner and a second dragon, which happens to be a Chemtech dragon.
Yeah, it's just like a little gold inflection. So it's like a little, what do they call it, like a tax refund?
Yeah.
A little, like, economy stimulus, you know?
Stimulus check.
Stimulus package, there you go.
Stimulus package.
Yeah. Nongshan got a little, you know, stimulus package, and that's about it. They didn't get anything else.
Peanut signed every kill. I just want you guys to know this was from me. I'm 0-5 on this Jarvan. And I mean business.
I mean business.
They are going to get that dragon, as Hanwha Life Esports are going to try to wrap around and take a mid-outer in return. But remember, this is a global comp here for Nongshan, so Hanwha do push that mid turret and then decide it's too dangerous and leave it up and say, well, you can't get a mid in return because we don't have any of those. And the game continues. At this point, it's starting to feel like this game is just going to be one all of a sudden. You know what I mean? It's going to be one of those team fights where Viper pops off, somebody overextends on Nongshan, or
like
Nongshan
last
slowly
game,
grind them out. Yeah. Except like much later in the game in this case.
Last game ended at about 29 minutes. It was like 29 minutes and 5 seconds-ish. We're already past that, and we don't see the end in sight. Nongshan obviously have a pretty nice lead at this point. Nice back.
I mean, there's
I wanted to say backflip. It's not a backflip. What is it? Seismic shove?
Seismic shove, yeah. Flip back.
It's a flip back. There we go. That's what my brain was trying to do.
It's a skill name flip back.
Yeah,
it is. Look, Viper's got a arm guard. Okay, I'm starting to, like, DNF has made me rethink.
Are you seeing the lines?
Yeah, like, DNF has started to make me rethink everything to where I'm like, okay, wait, how could it be possible? Like, how could Nongshan mess this up?
You're like when Neo sees the Matrix in front of him, and he realizes he's the one, you know?
Like, I think Viper's known he's the one for a while, but Peanut, maybe he's not the one yet.
Nice angle there from Calyx, though.
Good angle, gets around it. GA's picked up here for Gideon. But Viper has the 1,000 gold lead. He has some AP, so he can offer poke in objective fight setups. You know, when we have that next one, which will be 2 minutes or so when that Baron comes up. Actually completes the Zonias, in fact, as well, with all that extra money he has. Like, if he can get backline access, go golden, Zeus shows up, heals for him, Delight has a good engage. Like, Delight has Flash, Rocket Belt. This game is not over until it's over, and Hanwha Life definitely have an insane amount of tools to get back into this if Nongshim messes up. Now, if Nongshim play 4-1 around this Rise and Paranoia power, it's really hard for Hanwha to defend, but because they have this K'Sante backbone, you can't just ult in willy-nilly. You just have to play through wave clear. Sivir Rise will win the game for you, even if you don't have Baron over time. Just don't make any mistakes in the interim. Don't make any mistakes in the interim!
Gio, he doesn't have his shield, and they're gonna get away, just barely, but man, that's very scary. Barrier and flash used by two of the members of Nongshim.
I think without that Paranoia, they probably are likely going to collapse onto him, but when the lights get turned off, it's a little bit tricky as
Flash on in from Zeka, wanted to get the flip back onto the Jace. And not quite, he just burns his flash.
Yeah, not quite able to do it. The flashless Talia cannot be in a side lane to this composition. Probably can't be in a side lane with flash up, but the wave clear and the fact that Talia can't exist unless she's in a safe position just means that the map always is kind of blue for this game, and they were able to get that flash out. They got the mid turret. They did not, however, get the inhibitor. When Nongshim are down Paranoia as Baron spawns, it will come back up relatively soon, but this is a fight where this might be that moment where like the game ends all of a sudden, right? Because if Nongshim with the wave clear, they have Baron and can just squat on it and walk towards the enemy nexus, eventually they just win the game, right? And so Hanwha need to show up for this, need to fight for this, but they don't have Cryo, they don't have vision. There's a little bit of a ward to the left side of the pit that potentially Zeus could like flank TP to, but he's K'Sante. Gio gets GA. He's not here though, so he needs to rush over as fast as he can because Hanwha are going to try to wrestle for Cryo here. Weaver's Wall is so incredibly valuable in moments like this as well, to cut teams in half.
Yeah. Viper's beginning to do some real damage with that AP build.
If he gets into the backline onto Gio, I mean, that's a win con here for Hanwha Life, 100%. Yep. Same with Calyx, who does have his Zonias, at least for his sake.
GA, very precious. But you can see that HLE, they're really trying to play the slow game here, not trying to overextend. They want to let Viper do the damage.
Okay, Zeka's calling, he's going to go clear that top wave. This is going to be a lot of prio here for the side of Nongshim. They can try to push this vision forward. Yeah. Not really gaining that much ground, though, frankly, with you, Valdez. Going to take a little bit more time, try to play through this Sivir.
The Chemtech Drake up in about 40 seconds. I do wonder if HLE think that getting Chemtech Soul is worth it. I personally don't think. In trade for the Baron, I should mention.
I think Zeus gets a ton of value out of the Soul. In these scrappy fights where he's getting all the extra resistances, even the additional damage is going to be relevant. He's got a Jack shows, so he is happy to have a Chemtech Soul, but otherwise the comp doesn't benefit that much from it. And
if they can get it without giving Baron big, 2 thumbs up, that's amazing. But I just worry that if you're giving up all that pressure on Baron against the Sivir Rise that are both very fed.
Looks like Nongshim think the value of it's high enough to where they'll peel off Baron and at least try to force some poke here. Then they could run back or even Realm War back to the Baron, but they want to fight, it looks like. And Zeus is now isolated.
Yep, just kind of priced into this one at this point. Nongshim have to go for it as everything is looking at the backline, but the smite comes in, and Calyx goes in by himself, but it's actually a genius move as it distracts them. Delight's gonna go down. Calyx in a bit of trouble here, perhaps, but he just blasts away. In go Viper and his top laner doing a ton of damage here. Gideon goes down. Nobody can get on top of Viper until this very moment. Gio might just be able to do it as Viper goes invisible, but it's not quite enough. And Zeus, even with the Chemtech Soul, is not going to survive at the very end.
That
Nongshim get a huge fight there.
That play from Calyx, that's, I can already see Chronicler and Twitch chat. It's like, it's little things like that. That's why they picked up Calyx, you know what I'm talking about? Because he has Sonias, Seraphs, Rod of Ages, okay, even has the upgraded Merc Treads. He is so survivable, gets to go gold in there, and that play actually baits them. They go in with Paranoia at the same time. It's so hard to pick off that Rise, and Hanwha Life get cut off by a Realm War flank as Delight looks to try to defend.
Yeah, just trying to clear the wave with that ult. Looks a little bit silly, but that's what they gotta do. They're tanking up the turret. They don't have a wave. They're all super low. I don't know about this one, Nongshim. Oh, gee, was so close to losing his CA too. And now we got Zeka on the respawn, looking for anyone. Looks like he's gonna go to the top side here, but oh no, not the disengage cones. Gonna save them just barely.
They could have just gone for Baron, but they go for the end.
Maybe start Baron, HLE.
Yeah, HLE definitely can, because the Nongshim have to back. They're so low. No TP on King and no Calyx TP, no Realm War. Hound Life Esports don't have a ton of vision here. That the control ward is so frustrating, but now they can just bloom scry it, or scry bloom it rather, and go over and start taking this. I think the turn is really strong for them. They still have Cataclysm here. Zeus is just going to be able to hold the door. He's on the edge, and Hound Life with the turnaround.
Look at Calyx. He's running mid. He wants to Realm Warp. He's pinging it. He wants to Realm Warp in.
They only have 2 minions here.
I mean, if they get in there, you know, it's going to be huge. The rest of the team just trying to stop them from backing, and successful for now. The Realm Orb's coming in, and now TP's utilized. I think they might be a little bit too late, but let's see. The Cataclysm comes down. They just got to hit the Nexus, but the double stun comes in from Zeka, and the damage is not there for Noxim. HLE clean it up, and they stop the gambit from Noxim.
I just don't think this was the right call in any scenario. You lost, really, you messed up when you went for the end instead of the Baron, trying to stop those backs against Baron-empowered recalls with the comp here from Hanwha Life. This is just not going to work. They don't have ways to stop the TP. And, I mean, I get the idea behind this. If they had a huge wave, maybe. But instead, they just get stopped. And Hanwha Life Esports will win the game in the end off of some really questionable decision-making here from Nongshim.
It was so close to Wolf. The Nexus was like half health. Oh, man.
That's a tragic loss.
It's a couple of games in a row where I felt like Nongshim were in a very good spot, and they just couldn't get it done. And same goes Gideon. Might be able to take out the... Nope, he's not going to be able to. That's going to do it, guys. HLE, they get the victory from the jaws of defeat. Just at the very, very end, as Nongshim go for a very tight play. It nearly works out, but HLE are just that little bit better, and it gets them across the line in the 2-0 tonight.
I understand that the game had stalled out so much before the first attempt, and when you start to think about like how you could have gone Baron and then slowly won the game, you're like, I want to win the game right now. Like they've defended so long, the game is way too close. But that initial call to end was, I think, a mistake, and the second one was just desperation.
Zeus a little awkward ear scratch. He's like, oh well, we got the victory. A little bit close.
Should I go? I mean, this is a really tough palm. Like I'm split between mid and support.
I don't know. I feel like they were great in game 1, but game 2 was...
Mid was not great in game 2 as well. Like,
yeah.
I feel like this is going to be a split vote.
Hard to say. I'd say just close your eyes and put
I'm going to go for support. I'm going to go for support.
Put a mark.
I'm going to go for support because...
His Rakan was great.
Yeah.
You know? Excellent. His Nico also had good moments.
Yeah, his Nico was good enough.
Good enough.
Because, like, Zeus had a real rough game 1, had amazing Cassante game in game 2. Like, Peanut... You know, probably not the contender in either game.
No.
And then, like, Viper was arguably the most consistent across both games, but he didn't do that much in game 1. Is more of a passenger. In game 2 was a lot more high value.
Yeah.
I couldn't vote for Zeka after that Talia game, even though he had an incredible Orianna game in game 1. So
yeah, I feel like Delight's the right vote. And by the way, guys, it showed up on your screen, but with this win, HLE make it into the LCK playoffs for 2025. So, you know, only 4 weeks left before we do get into that crazy long format we have with play-ins first, into playoffs, tons of best-of-5s, and HLE are going to find themselves qualified already. Does mean, you know, we don't know their seed just yet. Obviously trying to get second seed, but we'll see if they can do even that up against a very strong T1.
Yeah, that's their question. But with such dominant teams in the first half of the year, it's no surprise, like it shouldn't be a surprise to people that we already have 2 playoff teams qualified. Yeah. So let's watch back some of these moments because, like, this
Can I skip this one?
Yeah, I'd like to skip this one as well. The call to go to end instead of doing Baron, I think, is one many teams will do. This play from Calyx, by the way, he has Seraphs, he has Zonias,
Beautiful.
He has Phase Rush. He gets out, they look for the turn on him, and he's like, I've got Zonias, I'm actually fine. Zeus all outs him. He's like, I have Seraphs. He's actually doing so much to absorb this team fight pressure here. They also have that GA on the Sivir, so this is just a really cool angle he takes. He's so confident. It's moments like this for Calyx where you memes aside, like you really truly see how smart this player is.
Oh boy.
But it's this call here. Who can stop these backs, right? Like, they don't have the ability to ult Paranoia there onto the top side of the fight, and there's no one to stop the back. So they get the back off. They have the teleport here from the Talia. And then this knock-up setup from Zeus on the Q3 is really the final nail in the coffin. They then have Delight here. And like, half a Nexus isn't really what I'd call close in these situations. Either you stop the backs or you don't, and they couldn't. And so with Baron up here for Hanwha Life, of course they would just end the game right afterwards. I think the bigger mistake was deciding not to just take Baron with their insane Sivir Rise comp and push to the win.
You can see the goal difference graph just falling off a literal cliff there, just into the pit. That is Life Esports victory at the very end, 2-0 in a much longer game, 38 minutes. And yeah, makes a lot of sense. Just the amount of members that were able to get back was enough to defend. And Viper did a ton of damage. I mean, he was AP Kai'Sa, that was very fed. He is going to pick up the player of the match. As you mentioned, I think it should be pretty split. Like game one, we shouldn't forget about that, especially because that was a more dominant victory with more flashy performances from the players on the side of HLE.
Yeah, I mean, you could have gone, I think, with like 4 different votes. I think Viper and Delight were the most consistent. But, you know, like Viper in the first game played well, but ultimately it doesn't matter. I'm not mad with any vote. Like, even if you voted for Peanut, I'd be like, oh, okay. I probably wouldn't.
Well,
you know.
I don't think I don't
Actually, maybe I'm not okay with that one, yeah. But every other vote
one guy.
is fine.
Yeah, every other vote's fine. Zeus is fine even. But yeah. Props to Nongshim, you know, they accepted their fate where it's like, we're the weakest in this group. We're really not going to do well. Even their head coach is saying it. But they're trying their best. They got close in this series. It looked much better than another series.
So close to breaking the streak. So close.
Yeah.
But not enough.
It's still going to be another 2-0 on that list of 0-2s that Nongshim have against HLE.
And they're now 0-10 in the Legend group. They have not won a single game since joining. So round 4 hasn't changed for them just yet, but I think they looked pretty good in both games. Start of game 1, excellent game 2, really good control, fantastic draft. Just some decision-making issues that I think the coaches should be able to iron out most of those. But at the end of the day, still, it's a step in the right direction, I guess you'll say.
Step in the right direction. We'll see where that does land them by the end of their Legend Group stage. Remember that if you do get 5th place, you do have to play in play-ins. So that's one thing to consider. You know, we're getting people into playoffs, but also we will get one of these Legend teams into play-ins. So will be pretty interesting. Might be Nongshim, but we'll see. But guys, we have the POM interview ready to go. Let's go into that right now.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation, joined by Viper on the side of Hanwha Life Esports. With that 2-0, you're now qualified for the playoffs. How do you feel? Well, first of all, I think we had a bit of a dangerous moment, but I'm really glad that we're able to close it out with the victory. I feel like there are a lot of things that we need to improve on, so we need to be considerate of all the room for improvement. And against Nongshim, you now have a 13 winning streak, and today was a clean 2-0 victory, so was it as expected? You know, not too long ago, we did win against them, so I believe that we were able to win again yet today. And you got POM for all the round 3 victories, and some believe that it's a tough meta for AD carries to shine. So what do you think? Yeah, I do agree. But since it's the fearless format, I feel like there are a lot of moments where I can actually shine. So I think it's just, it really does depend. So if you were personally able to pick a POM in your team today, who would you give it to? Personally, I think Zeka did a really good job. I feel like he performed really well today, so I would give it to Zeka. And then in game 1, the new champion, Yunara, made her first LCK appearance. And even from early game, the enemy Yunara was scaling pretty well, and you targeted her down very well. So how was playing against her on stage? I think the more she gets a good item, she becomes a very strong champion. And alongside a utility support, she is able to scale very well and stably. So I think that's what's really good about Yunara. And game 2 was getting pretty dicey, and the enemy was pushing your Nexus at one point. So how did it make you feel? Yeah, after dying at the dragon team fight, we thought, oh my gosh, it's doomed. But I think we were able to come back pretty well, so I'm just really relieved. So what allowed you to defend your base? Well, I guess we do have a lot of CC in our comp. I think the enemy comp didn't allow to push as fast as they can. And you got your first win of round 4, and T1's actually right behind you at 3rd place, and you will continue meeting the same 4 teams. So what do you think of the current format dividing the teams in groups? You know, I haven't really particularly thought about it, but because we keep on meeting strong teams, it really depends on how we perform in each of our matches. I think we just have to keep on just maintaining a good form. And for the rest of the LCK regular season, what approach will you have? I feel like we have been losing to T1, so I want to make sure that we get our revenge against T1, and we'll be very well prepared for that one. And your next opponent will be KT Rolster, so would you like to say anything to your fans? Now for the next match, I hope that we are able to win without too much anxiety-inducing moments for the fans. And that's the end of the interview with Viper, and back to the space. Congratulations again, and thank you!